Thanks Self-Haircut University for sponsoring this video. It's your man Alex, and in this video I'm going to be showing you step by step how I fade and cut my own hair from the beginning to the end with all the useful tips and tricks you will need. With that being said, let's jump right into the video. Now to get started with the self haircut, I'm going to be using my Babyliss trimmers and going up just slightly above my ear and going straight back at a slight downward angle to fit with the head shape as I cut with the trimmer, right? This is pretty much just me debulking and removing all of the bulk so I can have a cleaner surface to work with when I use the guards. Now to make sure you didn't miss any hairs, make sure you go through your scalp one more time with the trimmer just to make sure that everything's even. So now moving on to the second guideline, I'm going to be using my clippers with no guard and the lever open, and I'm going up about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch from my initial guideline, which was that bald line using the trimmers, okay? Make sure you're making the guideline as even as you can all around your head on the right side, the back side, and the left side, all right? This is very crucial to making sure that the fade comes out at the end of the haircut looking even all around your head. Now using the number 1 guard lever open, I'm going up another 1/2 inch or roughly 3/4 of an inch from the previous guideline all the way around my head. For this self haircut, I decided to put in all the guidelines first, and then after all the guidelines are in, I'm going to go back and fade in all of those guidelines. This is just so you guys can see what my head and what my hair look like before I fade, so you guys can see the differences between the colors from light to dark. Also, a little tip, I want you guys to notice how I'm doing like a slight free-handed flick out motion. As soon as I go up that 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, I'm doing a slight flick out motion to get any of the excess hair above the guideline as well, which is going to make it a lot easier when I go in and fade later on. Now using the number 2 guard lever open, I'm going up another 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch, only this time I'm kind of going up at like a 90-degree angle, and I'm cutting any of the excess hairs that fall into the blades, okay? So I'm going up roughly 90 degrees straight up, 3/4 of an inch, and then I'm going up a little bit further as I freehand going away from my scalp and getting any of those longer hairs by my part line. And again, this is just going to make it a lot easier for me when I go in and fade later on in the haircut. So before I go in and start to fade in all of the guidelines, I'm going to quickly do my beard, okay? So I'm going in with the clippers and my lever completely open, and then I'm going to gradually close my lever as I go up my beard. As soon as I do that, I'm going to open the lever again, flip my clippers upside down, and then freehand going down my beard, okay? If you guys want, I'll leave the thumbnail on screen here so you can check out the fastest way to fade your beard video that I did about 10 months ago. It's a really good video, really quick, and it's definitely the fastest way that you can fade in your beard to your haircut. So now that I have all of the guidelines in, I'm going back in with my clippers with the lever halfway, and I'm going to be going up about halfway through the first guideline and just soften up that hard line, okay? I'm not trying to put in a hard line. I'm not using a lot of pressure. I'm going in very lightly on my hands just to soften up that bottom hard line. And then I'm going to go in, close the lever completely to try to remove the hard line as much as possible. Now, one thing you guys need to remember when you're using the no guard lever closed to flick out the bottom hard line, you always want to start underneath the hard line and flick up into the hard line, okay? This is a pretty short clipper guard right here, so if you go up a little bit too high, you're going to end up creating a new hard line. So you want to be careful and just start beneath the hard line and flick up and away while hitting the hard line at the same time. Okay, start beneath it and flick up into it and away. So for some reason you're still seeing a hard line after using the no guard lever closed, go back in with your trimmers, use the corners with a slight up and down motion, and only attack at where the hard line began, okay? Just attack the hard line using the corners of the trimmer.
Before we continue with the video, I want to thank today's sponsor, Self Haircut University. My goal with SHU is to help you fast track your haircutting education. Whether for self haircuts or cutting other people's hair, SHU covers both options. So that means less mistakes, faster results, and thousands saved every single year for the rest of your life. Now, within 72 hours of joining, I'll personally be hosting a new member group coaching call to help you get started on the right track, as well as answer any upfront questions that you might have. With over 14 years of self-haircut experience, 120 plus lectures, weekly group coaching calls, live streamed self-haircut tutorials, 24 to 48 hour feedback, and even one-on-one coaching calls with me directly, there's no better person with more passion than myself to teach you how to cut your own hair. Click on the first link in the description to start today. Thank you, Self Haircut University, for sponsoring this video.
So now to remove the next guideline, I'm going to be using the half guard lever closed, and I'm just going to be using a slight flick out motion. Again, you can see with my left hand, I'm going in and kind of stretching out my scalp so that I kind of open up the guideline a little bit more, which makes it a little bit easier for me, not only to make sure that I don't dig into the section above, but it's also easier to fade by stretching out the skin. So right here, I'm going back in with the number 1 guard lever open, and I think I went back in because the guideline was a little bit shorter than I wanted it. So I went back in with the 1 open and kind of extended the guideline just slightly. And as I was doing that, I was also having a slight flick out motion so that I softened up the hard line above it, okay? So it wasn't really this isn't necessarily to fade in the line, but it was just to soften up and extend that guideline a little bit more for the 1.5 guard. So here you can see I'm using the 1.5 guard lever closed, and I'm completely getting rid of that middle hard line right there with the 1.5 guard lever closed. Now you guys, I'm going in with my thinning shears over comb, and I'm just going to be blending in all of the hair by my part line into the length on top of my head, okay? So I usually leave a nice portion of hair by my part line because I like to have a little bit of a blend into the length on top, and the only way you can do that is by having slightly more hair, which is why I don't go straight up with the clippers into my part line. I always leave it for the thinning shears over comb. So this way it blends a lot easier and it makes the haircut look a lot nicer, okay? Just that little bit of added detail and that little bit of extra effort to make the haircut look nicer. Now again, this is a more advanced skill, so if you don't have thinning shears, definitely at least give it a shot because it's a really good skill to have for self haircuts. Before I show you the final results, here's the before one more time, just so you can see how much of a difference there is from the before to the finished product. But you guys, this is how I give myself a fade and blend it into the top using thinning shears. I hope you enjoyed today's video and learned something new. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, as well as what haircut you'd like to see me do next. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Alex Kouras. Also, don't forget to check out the links in the description down below to find out all of the tools and equipment I recommend, as well as check out Self Haircut University. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time. Peace!